Jonny's career in numbers.
Wow.
We've got Manchester United at the top there, but actually the debut started at Royal Antwerp. That was the first football Jonny played. 14 senior appearances there. And then in English football with Sunderland, 2 loan spells, one in the Championship, and then having one promotion, one in the second half of their first Premier League season with Roy Keane as the manager. 198 appearances for United, 6 major trophies, 3 Premier League titles, in total 8 major trophies, 538 club appearances, plus the 4th most capped player in Northern Ireland's history, 107 caps. And every minute of 4 games at Euro 2016, which must have been very special. Jonny, what a career.
Thank you.
That is. I love it when you put a career up like that, and it is so impressive. The numbers are so big. How much pride does that fill you with?
Huge pride, first of all, and I think I often think back, when you're a kid and you just think it's like a bit of a dream, and now you're at the end of it, and you're like, did that really happen? Mm-hmm. I suppose that's kind of the phase I'm in at this moment in time. Like my career's just come to an end, and I'm sort of going back. I'm not one for looking back and reminiscing too much, but there's little moments that come to you and you're like, oh, that was incredible what I just experienced. And I suppose you're always looking for what's next, and can you replicate something as good?
What are those things that come to your mind when you're thinking like that?
Just being a Man United kid growing up, or a Man United fan as a kid growing up, and then going on and playing over 200 games for them.
How old were you when you first had that connection with Manchester United?
From really, really young. My dad and all my family were all Man United fans, so. And I think, growing up in Northern Ireland, the majority are either Liverpool or Man United.
In your appearance, there's just done the math, 645 career games. If there's one game that sort of stands out that you could go back to and relive, play again, that really stands out for you?
There's probably a couple. And there were probably, I'd probably say my debut. We lost that night, my debut for Man United, because it was such a big moment. And we get knocked out of the cup against Coventry, which was a bit of a killer blow at that time, because you think, I'd been at Sunderland on loan, played against Coventry, I think, in the Championship that year, and then come back and you play for Man United and you lose and you think, this is terrible. But I think probably out of them all, playing the Euros and beating Ukraine with Northern Ireland was the best feeling I've ever had in a game. But also with Leicester, winning the FA Cup with Leicester.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a shame because there was only about 20,000 people allowed at the game, because it was one of the first games back after COVID where they were allowing crowds in. So a lot of my family didn't get to go to it. So to win the FA Cup against all odds against Chelsea with Leicester, if I could go back and have all my family there to experience that, would have been incredible.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. So what age were you when you signed for Manchester United?
Officially?
No, let's have the unofficial.
So I came across I came across a little bit earlier than, so I was 15 at the time when I moved across, and my whole family actually made the decision to move to England so that I could relocate closer to the club.
Mm. That's some commitment, and we don't think about that a lot. What sort of families go through and what they sort of, not sacrifice. I mean, obviously the boys going to Manchester United, but clubs don't normally do that for players, so they must have thought you were a very special player, because obviously the club have to pay for that, relocate, I'm sure, put you in a house and things like that, so they must have thought you were a really special talent as a youngster.
I've been coming across to United since I was 10, and the rule changed when the introduction of the academy football sort of came in. The rules changed. We had to live within an hour and a half, so I could no longer come from about the age of 12, 13. And my mum and dad obviously thought I had a great chance of going on to become, and United did too. But I suppose a situation arose where my dad had lost his job, my mum wasn't working, so they thought, what are we going to do? Yeah. And we thought, we'll go to England and give myself a chance, but also my brother, who was starting.
Corey had a great career as well.
Corey as well. So the both of us, they give us a great platform to be able to go on and have great careers.
And your dad get a little scouting job?
He did, He drove the minibus.
Yeah, honestly, every good player started getting a scouting job. Everyone.
Minibus driver.
Well, someone was scouting you, and that was Sunderland, because obviously you'd been around Manchester United for quite a few years before you got this first opportunity in English football when Roy Keane went there. So you were telling us right at the start of the show that he was a big idol of yours. So how did it feel when Roy got in touch? I mean, did he call you straight away? I mean, that's not a man you say no to, is it?
Do you know what? I'd been on loan at Antwerp. United had a bit of a connection with Antwerp, where a lot of the players have been going there. And I think, I don't actually really know how the move came about, but they got in contact to say that I think they'd been in touch with the club beforehand, and Roy had obviously had a bit of a falling out with Sir Alex, so I don't know how that sort of materialised, where he still allowed me to go on loan to Sunderland at the time. But
I think Roy tells a story about that. I think I'm just recollecting. I hope I've got this right, 'cause I'm sure Roy's watching. That I think Manchester United played them in a game, and obviously having a drink afterwards, you know, with the managers. And I think Alex Ferguson, I'm sure he said to me that he sort of mentioned he'd try and help Roy, and you were maybe one of the players. That does come to me. I hope I've got that right, but I recollect Roy mentioning that story, that Alex Ferguson mentioned you and trying to help him.
so I was, like I say, I was on loan at Antwerp, and they had a winter break in Belgium. So I'd come back on about just before Christmas, and it was a one-way ticket back to Manchester. So they said, you're not coming back to Antwerp. You're going to go on to the Championship. And that's whenever I first heard of the interest from Sunderland then at that time. And I'd actually Roy had invited me up via someone at the club. Does Johnny want to come up and watch? I think we were playing Preston in a league match round about the Christmas period, but I couldn't sign until the window opened in January. So I went up, and on my way up, my car broke down. So I ended up jumping a taxi, made my way to the Stadium of Light, watched the game. I think Roy had actually forgot I was there. So I'm going around asking people, being like, I'm here to see Roy Keane. And I think a few people are probably thinking, who is this kid? But anyway, I ended up going into his office, and Neil Bailey, who was he ended up becoming assistant at the time, drove me back to Manchester. He was living in Manchester at the time. And when I did sign then I think I signed around about the 2nd of January, Roy Keane actually picked me up at the house and drove me up to Sunderland. So I had no car to get back up to Sunderland. So he came, picked me up, drove me up. So for me, having 3 hours in the car with Roy Keane was like a dream come true. And then he was my manager.
But you did brilliantly for him. So he gets you back the next season. But you're in a stronger position there, are you?
Yeah, I know where you're going. Negotiating.
Come on, what's the truth, Johnny? What's the truth?
I remember having the conversation with him. He makes a good point. I think he got the figures inflated a little. But I'd gone back to Sunderland the second time when we were in the Premier League, and they tried to get me back, and I negotiated a bit of a better deal.
The story is, you've read his book. You've read his autobiography.
It is true, yeah.
And he said in the book, you've got to get everything you can when you're a player. And is that true?
It's 100% true. I remember standing in the bedroom when he called me, thinking, am I going to say this? And I said it. But I know that he was... it was never a question about the money. I know, I was desperate to go back to Sunderland, but I think I was being cheeky and just threw it in there.
Yeah.
I'd have probably walked back at the time because I wasn't really playing at United, and I'd loved my time at Sunderland before that.
Did you actually have an agent at that time?
No.
Doesn't sound like he needs one.
So some of the young players around that era were sort of leaning on Gary Neville a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
Were you one of those?
So I'd come back to United after my second spell at Sunderland, and Gaz, I think I'd seen Gaz, we might have been in the swimming pool area just outside. I can remember saying to him, Gaz, I knew Sunderland had come in for me. They'd put a bid in, and I was thinking, I wanted to go back and play. I'd bumped into Roy, actually, in the village close to where we lived. And he said, I'll put a bid in for you. So I went and knocked on Sir Alex's door, and I said, by the way, Sunderland, I know they've put a bid in for me, but I'd like to go. And he threw it straight back onto me. Well, you've been tapped up. So it put me right on the back foot straight away. So I went to see Gaz, and I said to Gaz, look, I'd love to go back to Sunderland. He says, I'll go and speak to the manager for you. So I'm waiting downstairs at the bottom of the stairs, and he went up, and 5 minutes later he came back and he said, you're going nowhere.
Gary Neville fired as the agent.
He was fired. But after that, like, that gave me good confidence because I knew then that Sir Alex wanted me to stay and be properly part of the first team at the club.
But probably one of the reasons why it was tough to get in, because Manchester United had great centre-backs there. And I'm thinking about, Rio and Vidic, arguably the best probably centre-back partnership we've ever seen in the Premier League. What was it like trying to get into there, and how much help did they give you? What was it like playing with them?
They were brilliant with me, and I suppose I'd come back from Sunderland and I'm thinking, I'm miles away from Man United's first team. But then I think there was an injury to one of them right early on in the season, and I ended up playing. I was thinking, I'm actually a lot closer than what I think here. And each time, to be fair to Sir Alex, he would throw me in and he would play me a lot of games. I think my first season back after I'd been on loan at Sunderland, I ended up playing close to 30 games, which was a big surprise for me. But playing alongside Rio, Vidic, two world-class centre-backs, so I was constantly trying to learn off them, ask questions. And that's probably how I did most of my learning. Probably similar to yourself, in terms of playing alongside good players. You're always trying to pick things up from them.
And what did you get from Sir Alex then in terms of coaching and learning?
I think one of his biggest things was he let everyone be themselves. He always encouraged you to play your own game and express yourself. Play the game how you know how to play it. And that's probably one of the biggest things you take from him, his leadership. That is leadership in itself, letting go of control and letting players do what they do. I think he liked having players with all different abilities and different skill sets that he could use. He didn't want every player to be the same. He wanted variety in his team, and I think for that reason, that's why he just let people be themselves.
You've mentioned those two world-class centre-backs, Vidic and Rio. If we could pin you to one, it could be any one, but who's the favourite player you enjoyed playing alongside?
I had spells with both of them at different times, and there'd be times I'd be playing with Rio, and it'd be like, because Rio was so calm and he was composed, he didn't shout too much, he was very, you could play alongside him and you could read the game easy. And then other times I'd play with Vidic, when you're playing against teams and they're throwing the ball in the box, and he was just an animal heading the ball, and he was aggressive, and he was, leading the team in a real sort of like proper old school defending way. So there was both sides. If I could probably edge, I'd probably say Rio, more for the calmness side of it and sort of playing alongside him.
That was your favourite partner then. What about the hardest opponents that you faced? Not just when you were at Manchester United.
I go straight to Suarez. When at Liverpool, he was. I'd probably go Suarez, Drogba, and Aguero. Over the years, I'd probably say those three probably stand out more than the others.
Suarez was some player. When he was at Liverpool, I think for probably a 3 or 4 year period, he's probably the best striker in the world. That last year at Liverpool and what he did with Barcelona, he's fantastic, wasn't he?
He just never knew what you were going to get with him. He'd bobble the ball through your legs. He could do everything. He was strong, brave. I thought he was a real handful. And obviously you're playing against him every day in training. You have a different perspective, but
Jamie taught him everything.
Yeah.
The dark arts.
What was players you played with? Obviously, we've mentioned centre-backs, but in terms of, outfield
everyone
players.
always goes. I always thought Scholes and Giggs were like on another level to the rest of the team. Even though we had world-class players, I felt like they were like their IQ was just a little bit higher than everyone else's.
Everyone mentions Scholes, don't they? Yeah. Especially players who played with him. I played with him a little bit for England, didn't know him as much as you. But I think when you play with someone, it's not just the games, it's the everyday training stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, them two, and I throw Giggs in there too, because Giggs was like, I thought he was a genius in his own way, but both of them would do things more on the training pitch than anything. That they would do things and you'd just be like, I didn't even know that existed, or I'll never be able to get to that level. It's just on a different level.
We saw a list of the managers that you played under before. It's quite a list actually. It's a real collection of talent on there. So Alex Ferguson, I'm guessing, would be top of that for you. But who would have been for you the other ones that would have stood out there?
You go by names, you probably say Van Gaal was another one, because he was the total opposite to Sir Alex. We talk about players being themselves. He was the opposite. He wanted to. I learned so much from what he had to say and opened my eyes to a different way of playing football.
In terms of tactics or your own game?
No, your own game. Well, both. The tactical side of the game, but also like in terms of like the detail in the pass and really like analysing it. And sometimes some players found it a bit too much. I only had a year with him, but I feel like the stuff that that I had with him, I was able to take for the rest of my career and sort of.
It sounds like when you speak about Sir Alex, and a lot of people speak about this because he probably wasn't on the training ground every day, whereas there wasn't so much the coaching element from Sir Alex, but then you bring a Van Gaal in, and is that like where you're getting drilled every day, coached every day?
It was total opposite, total different ends of the spectrum. And then obviously when I went to West Brom under Tony Pulis, which was a completely different style of playing football and great for a defender.
It's coming back.
Well, it is, 4 centre-backs. I played left-back.
Was that also an interesting learning experience for you?
It was, because you're playing a certain way at Manchester United. I had a little bit of experience, I suppose, playing international football in Northern Ireland. You're defending deep a lot, defending your box. But, you know, Tony, 99% of games you'd be on the edge of your box, and it was like proper. I learned so much in terms of how to defend, and I experimented a lot with him in my own game because I was trying to learn.
But what was it? I mean, obviously we've looked at all the clubs you've been at, fantastic career, but you're a Man United fan, you've been very successful at United, you end up moving on from United. Was it tough to leave?
No.
How did you leave?
Not at all. I mean, my wife actually said to me, she said not that long ago, a few years ago, she said, "Oh, you found it tough leaving." I didn't feel like I did at the time. I actually felt like I was ready to go and try something new. I'd had my experience at Sunderland, so I knew that going and playing it, you could go to other clubs and have that experience of enjoying it. And Darren Fletcher just made the move to West Brom, so he was convinced me to go to West Brom to leave. So I felt like
tapped
everything.
Up again?
I was tapped up. Fletch said, I'll drive you up and down every
morning, yeah.
So it was great, and I loved my time at West Brom. But the first 2 seasons was, for me, going from a position at United. I hadn't played too much. I'd had a suspension, a few injury problems. I went to West Brom, and Tony Pulis, to be fair, he was just playing me every game. He played me through everything, and just I enjoyed that experience of maybe, I suppose, being one of the main players and just playing week. You know that as soon as you're coming back or whatever you do, you're starting.
So you had these great experiences, and you talked about Leicester winning the FA Cup there with Brendan Rodgers, a couple of seasons there. But how special was it going back to Manchester United, almost to sort of bookend your career?
I mean, I suppose like finishing it off like that is like, it's another dream. And I suppose like did that happen? It is a bit. I suppose it is a little bit, and it was totally out of the blue. It was nothing I ever expected. Or
how did it come about?
I mean, I asked Fletch again. I rang Fletch. I'd left Leicester. We'd just been relegated, and I actually wanted to stay on at Leicester, but they never called me back. But I ended up getting a point. It was getting close to the pre-season. Everyone's going back in for pre-season. I thought, I've never trained on my own.
Yeah.
I've never been one to go out and do runs, or you're always in a team environment. And I thought, I'm going to go out and run around the park. So I'll give Fletch a ring. And I thought, I wonder, can I go in and train with the reserve team? And he said, yeah, come in next Monday. So they got to the Friday, and he says, by the way, Ten Hag's heard you're coming in. Because I played against United. I actually think I'd played quite well earlier on in the season against United in the league. He's heard you're training. We want you to come and train with the first team. And a lot of the lads had been away on international duties, so they were coming back late for pre-season. And the more training sessions I was playing, I was thinking, I'm actually not too far away here. Like I'm not, and I can feel my fitness getting better and sharper. And then they asked me, do you want to come on pre-season? So I went on the pre-season tour, and I started getting a bit of a sniff. I think something's happening here that I didn't know about, but maybe they're having an idea. They're wanting to look at me. And, you know, by the time I come back from pre-season, they then offered me a contract and asked me to stay on. And at that point, I thought, I'll stay if I get 5 games or 3 games or 1 game. It'll be like a great story. And by the end of that season, I think it was close to maybe 30 games again.
Amazing. And finishing with an FA Cup as well.
Yes, FA Cup.
Which is great.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's not a bad one, is it?
No, I mean, coming on against Man City, I'd actually gone to the FA Cup final the year before when City had actually beaten United. I'd gone down as a fan to watch the game, so to then sort of be on a winning team playing in the final for the club was incredible.
What next?
I don't know. I mean, I've got a job at United doing looking after the loan players.
Not after tonight.
Which is, I know, I'm getting what is there calling me? So I've got that sort of side of the game, learning about the sort of different aspects of the loans, which I've quite enjoyed, and I've learned a lot doing that. And obviously, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm not trying to look too
Doing
far
your
ahead.
coaching badges.
Doing my coaching badges and seeing where that takes me as well.
Had an experience of media.
This is my new experience in media. It's been great.
How have you? Because I think that is the decision for us all when we finish. We want to stay in the game. Do we go down the coaching road? Do we go down the media role? You've just started your badges. This is the first media I think you've done, like a bit of a show. How have you found tonight? How have you found coaching? Have you enjoyed tonight? Could you see that as a future as well?
I really have enjoyed it. Thank you two for making me feel welcome. But like, I mean, I think you always feel like you do have to stay in the game. I suppose, like, I think what I've realised is I went straight into it. You know, the club offered me a job, and I've learned a lot. You realise that, like, there's so many different aspects of football, of life, where you can sort of go into. So I've never felt pressured to do anything. I still don't feel pressured to do anything. So I just want to take a bit of time and probably just go with the flow a little bit for a while and enjoy certain aspects of things.
So 650 games for you. Corey's just finished as well this summer.
My brother's retired,
He must have played 400 or 500 games as well, I think. So
that was, for me, playing alongside my brother on the international stage was more enjoyable than anything. And obviously, Corey he was captain of Sunderland as well when they were promoted from League One in the playoffs. So being able to go and watch him at Wembley, that was a real proud moment. I probably got more enjoyment out of watching my brother play football than I did myself in a weird way. You probably get that now watching your son.
Yeah, but when you think, you know, two sons playing for the national team, how proud your parents and your family must have been.
Absolutely. What a credit to your family, both of you as well. Not just the football you played, but two smashing boys as well, which is arguably even more important.